But I think it's time to start anew. And we'll start a one-player game. There is a hardcore mode in Outward. And what that means is that normally in Outward, when you die, you experience a defeat scenario. And that defeat scenario is usually, you pass out, you wake up a while later, or maybe a bunch of troglodytes eat all of your food based on mushrooms, and then you wake up a while later. Sometimes you could be imprisoned, or, you might get sick. If you choose hardcore, there's a 20% chance anytime you are defeated, your save is deleted. It's kind of like that's it for you. Your luck runs out. We're not going to be doing that. I actually think one of the really interesting things about this game is, are the defeat scenarios that you get to experience. And the fact that this is kind of like a interesting premise in a lot of ways. So we won't do hardcore, but it is available to you if you want to experience that. The last 2 times I started a hardcore mode, I was doing really great, died only once, and rolled the 20%. And I don't think that that's necessarily going to be the best option for us. Character creation. We've got the all-time favorites here. We've got gender. We've got race. It's really something. Let's just be Danny. And I'm not gonna, I know some people get really into detailed character creation, but wide variety of of looks in some ways in this game. That guy looks very serious. Yeah. The definitive edition, I have to say, I played this game in the original edition. I played a lot more of it in definitive edition, and I do think definitive edition sanded off some rough corners, counter turns with the deepest cut possible. It could be a good way to get engagement, but I think I'm Danny. And I'll do that hair color. This is a really interesting option, this legacy option. We don't have... Thank you so much, Outsider Speaks. I appreciate... this hat was an anniversary gift. My wife gave it to me for our 3rd anniversary, which we are about to experience. The hat came early. But there is a legacy option here, and it's just blank right now. And what the legacy option does is there are 4 chests in the world through your playthrough, and you can place things into the chest. The chest has a single slot, and on every character you create after that, you can choose a legacy, and you can begin the game with those items, basically starting with those items. And for a lot of items, it's actually an improved version. So for a lot of the starter weapons, you actually get a gold-plated X instead of a regular old, machete. You get a gold-plated machete or what have you. And there are also some unique items that really it's transformative about what it does to the item. So there are some items that basically, long story short, you can't get unless you put other items into legacy chests and start a new character. We might unlock relatively soon, in a couple of sessions, a legacy chest, and there's some interesting tricks you can do. So I might showcase those, but we're just going to be sticking with Danny here, and I think we're ready to create a character here. We get some tips in the loading screens here. And I'm just glancing. I don't think I'm dropping frames. And here we go. This is the story. All my life I've lived within the safety of Sierzo, spared the brutality of the world outside. But life in RI is never that easy for all the safety that my tribe provides. Our laws are harsh. We're judged not as individuals, but as bloodlines. And the failures of my bloodline weigh heavy on me. My grandmother brought ruin to our tribe long ago. Bringing a heavy blood price upon my family, we've paid the debt caused by her actions ever since. And I joined an expedition across the sea with my old friend Yazan, hoping the money made there would be enough to clear my debts, but this was a mistake. I'm lucky to be breathing after our ship hit rocks on the return voyage. Wow, what an awful turn of events. Now I have no choice but to pick myself up yet again and face the wild, untamed land outside the walls. I must carve out my own future or die trying. Yeah. And I really like the first mission of the game, which is basically you need to like come up with a month's worth payment on your blood price. Because in large part, like a huge part of this game is figuring out ways to accumulate money. Because that is basically the only way you can advance your character. So let's go here. I mean, ultimately, I'm just using the webcam to prove to people once and for all that I am not just a voice that Cameron made up. That so much of the podcasts that we do are not just him speaking to himself. So yeah, the ultimate fantasy. It's just like real life, just an immense debt that you have no possible way to pay off, and we just wake up in this shipwrecked area here. There is a way to come back to this area, but I think you might have to beat the game to take like a rowboat over here, but we'll test it out. So yeah, you pick up a couple of torches out here, find some berries, some clothes, some seaweed. How much do we have to pay to get Cameron to torture himself with this game some more? That's a good question. You do note he's not here. And I think that he has basically experienced all of Outward that he could possibly tolerate. That's my just take right from the hip there. That's my gut instinct. The game is really fun, actually. I think that it's interesting because sometimes I indulge in things as a bit because I know it gets under Cameron's skin. This is not one of those times. I genuinely do think this game is really interesting and brings a lot to, the table, as it were. I think it's got a lot of cool ideas to it. And yeah, I think that I think it's neat, but it is very much, if you are not in for a survival first and then second, third person action RPG. So if you're not into some of maybe the tedium that is involved with that, it's probably not for you. I actually do enjoy Unmatched. I talk about it more than I enjoy it. I actually think it is a game that is more fun played than it is talked about. Whereas I think Magic the Gathering, I enjoy playing Magic the Gathering a lot. I think I enjoy talking about Magic the Gathering more than actually playing it sometimes. But yeah, I've beaten this twice. I'm going to be doing a storyline that I've not yet done. Let's see can I get the attention of just one of these hyenas. No, I think I've got both. Yeah, okay. I am going to fight this because there's a chance that I can get some predator bones. And if you can get predator bones before even leaving the city, you can get some cool stuff. Hyenas have basically one attack. They lunge at you from straight on. So if you continuously strafe, they shouldn't get too many hits on you. Cool. And he joins the party Putty Man style from Power Rangers, right as I defeat his comrade. Hello, ICB Moose. It's wonderful that you're here. Thanks for joining us. Oh, I've gotten an infection. Luckily, there's a little bit of a soft reset. Oh, and I've got some great stuff here. Let's see if I can get more predator bones. Not a second set of predator bones. Intrepid Vector, I haven't played Dragon's Dogma, and I think that after I stream and roll the credits on Outward and we're finished with it, I think Dragon's Dogma is a strong contender for the second game that we can play. I think that it is a very cool game. So you'll notice I have picked up very few things. Most of the things I have are torches. I'm already over my weight limit. This is because I don't have a backpack yet. I only have the pouch, which is basically like my pockets, like what I can fit on my person. But we will soon get a backpack, and we're actually going to, hopefully this session, get a very cool backpack that's kind of like one of those things you wouldn't know about unless you've maybe beaten the game twice. And I'm not going to shy away from strategies that employ like getting specific stuff that I've found throughout my playthroughs, because I want to beat the game in a decently in a decent amount of time. I don't want to be struggling trying to emulate what it would be like to play it for the first time. Okay, let's talk to Yazan here. We know he's an old friend of ours. Where are we?
We're not far from home.
Yeah, so this game has like dialogue that is, it's got the written dialogue here, but it's also like generally characters will have like a little bark that they'll send out when they do their, maybe it's the first line or maybe it's just the general idea of the dialogue they're speaking. Well, we know Ito made it out.
He's a Kazite. He was born on a ship.
And we know that Ito is comfortable enough. It's interesting. I thought about this. I guess if you know a lot about ships and you've been on a couple of shipwrecks, you're probably good at surviving shipwrecks. Whereas if you this is the first time you've ever been on a boat, you probably don't know the things you need to know in order to survive a shipwreck, which is a real shame. It looks like there are not many survivors here.
Go ahead and sleep.
And so basically, Yazan says, sleep in one of the bedrolls. You kind of get an introduction to the way the sleep system works. And you can allocate time to these different things. I'm next to a fire, so like I have the hot condition. So like if I sleep too long, I'll get really hot. And as time goes on, I also get hungry and thirsty. All this kind of stuff. It doesn't matter for the first time we sleep because we are going to wake up in the lighthouse no matter how long we sleep. And hopefully our infection will also be cured. I think we get a little bit of a reset there, but let's see. So unconsciousness comes quickly and you dream of being ensnared in something. With a yelp, you jump out of bed. Relief floods you as you recognize where you are. You're back in your old bed at home, the lighthouse encircled. So Yazan must have brought you back to your family's lighthouse. Only your aching body tells you that the shipwreck you suffered was not a nightmare. I know the idea of surviving 2 shipwrecks, awful. You really have to be going out on ships. I think I would have a bit of a phobia of ships after the first shipwreck. I would be quite averse. So yeah, our conditions have been wiped here. We still are a little bit overweight. Drop another torch here, but and we got slightly better clothing here. And so our movement speed's quite down. I've got a whole status page here that talks about our movement and so we're 39% slower because we're like a couple of pounds overweight as far as what fits in our bag. So we can equip this primitive satchel, which is something that you can fashion pretty easily in the field if you have access to just some pieces of leather. And we're going to take a couple of things here. And unfortunately, a lot of this game, you do need to do some inventory management, like moving stuff between your pocket and your satchel. Oh my gosh, Estonia 7.6. The idea of like surviving 2 iconic shipwrecks. That's too much. I hope we remember that person's name. I hope that they are on Wikipedia. They deserve that level of commemoration at least. All right. Pick up some other stuff. Our pouch is once again overweight. Let's move a couple of things. Cool. Interesting to know, money has weight in Outward. I think about 10 pieces or about 0.1 units of weight. So, 100 pieces of gold, that's already 1 unit of weight, pound or kilogram or however this game works. So if you want to move around with a lot of money, it really behooves you to buy a bunch of gemstones or even bars of gold, because relatively, for their value, they weigh less. Let me get our first recipe, which we can learn. All right. And I think we're ready to face the music now. Well, if we're not ready, ready or not, here it comes. It's a real... they're here for their money.
Rise and shine,
Trog spawn.
Skip off for 4 months and not pay what you owe the tribe.
A blood price is sacred. You can't just shrug off that responsibility.
So yeah, I haven't been making monthly payments on this blood price while I've been away. But I was away specifically because I wanted to I don't know, I guess we were going on some kind of grand adventure or some kind of interesting trading route. We don't get into it, but I wanted to go away to pay this thing off. But
if I don't see the money from you by the time I count to 10, you'll regret you ever came home.
Hey, I just woke up from a shipwreck. I know I can't. All the money we made in Orochi is at the bottom of the bay. I like that.
Yeah, you were on that ship too, weren't you? How many lives must your family be responsible for destroying before
Wow.
enough is enough?
Wow. Oh, I don't. You don't want to be the person to say, "Don't make this violent." If the situation is not violent, you don't want to be the person to to insert the idea of violence into the equation, into the conversation. So let's avoid that one and just say, "Hey, I don't have the money right now. I literally have 27 silver."
If you can't make the payments you missed, we will seize your home.
And I think Intrepid Vector did reference mortgage payments, more or less. The idea is if I don't come up with, 4 months of payments, of blood price payments, they are gonna take the lighthouse.
Enough of this. 12 people are dead. Stop this shameful behavior at once.
Mm-hmm.
To threaten someone like this while the lost lives are still fresh is an insult to their memory.
So yeah, this is interesting. We're getting Risa Aberdeen here saying, hey, under the laws of the Blue Chamber Collective, so this is, I guess who governs us, the laws of the Blue Chamber Collective. We know that there are blood prices that are enforced under the Blue Chamber Collective. We also have now just discovered that someone can declare, I guess Risa specifically, Risa Aberdeen, can declare a period of mourning, and during, and let's see what that means.
But, Chamber Lady Aberdeen.
I said that is enough.
There's a mourning period. So basically,
Want to resume discussions after the mourning period. Feel free.
but while there's a mourning period, it's you don't have to make debt payments, and you can't confront people and steal their lighthouse out from under them. So I guess that's nice, but it does beg the question. Seems like Risa Aberdeen has the power to just, I don't know. It's not written down anywhere. I would love to see the deep lore, the real scrolls of the Blue Chamber Collective. We can figure out.
Oliel, see these people off, would you?
And she's telling Oliel, her daughter, see these people off. Oh, Oliel has a lightsaber, and it looks like Risa can also assign people double shifts of guard duty. I'm beginning to think the Blue Chamber Collective isn't that great. It's just once again shooting from the hip here. It seems possible. But yeah, Oliel is cool as heck.
I'm sorry that was the first thing you woke up to. Please forgive them. Many of them have lost family and are not thinking straight.
Hey, I can't believe they want to seize my home.
The most I can do for you is declare a mourning period and buy you a little time.
So if I don't pay off those 4 months of mispayments, the tribe will have my head. So she's given me 5 days here. And no one in the tribe can ask what I owe them for those 5 days. Yep.
Days to pay back the money.
Got to come up with 150 big
Or earn a
ones.
tribal favor, and they won't be able to touch you.
Small thing I like about the game. I'm just going to be commenting about things I like about this game. I watched Cameron's summer streaming series with Final Fantasy VIII. You know what it's like to listen to that? It's like listening to somebody talk about how much they like things for like a long period of time. And you know what? That's what you're getting here too. So if you're joining us from the summer streaming series with Final Fantasy VIII, you're in good, it's going to be a similar deal. I like this. I like that it's silver specifically. I'm a big fan of silver being like the big denomination in the world. So it's either the money or the tribal favor. Somebody is asking about the beach bandage skit. We're doing it. I'm definitely not pouring 150 silver into this quest, because that 150 silver is going to go a long way into kind of setting up the character and making the early stages of the game pretty easy.
Once you can make the payment, you can see me. Please find
So
a way
I can
to-
complain, but you know what? I'll head outside the
Like your
walls.
most effective option,
I'll get it done.
Dangerous as it is. Never forget,
No one's an orphan in Serzo, but on the other hand, you can be on the hook for your grandmother's misdeeds. So, you got to take the good with the bad. No one's an orphan. We'll take care of you, but we will also demand payment for the stuff your grandma did. That's fine.
If you can do a great
Yep,
deed
tribal
once you're
favor.
ready to leave Cierzo, speak with
She's-
Burak, the gate warden.
Yeah, so basically, in order to leave Sierzo, we need to have, like, stuff on our person to convince Burak that we're, like, ready and that we're not going to get eaten by hyenas.
Remember, you only have a few
I
days.
remember. Okay, cool.
May your ancestors watch over you.
I'm glad you survived the wreck.
Let's talk to Lightsaber Oliel. That glowing sword is new. I like how my character and my person are interested in the same thing.
Rufus commissioned it for me as a going away present.
Wow. She's going away. She's joining the church, the holy mission of Elat. So, how do I put this? There was I know we haven't gotten to a lot of game yet, but we're talking about the game. Somebody in the Discord asked, "Hey, Danny, why is it that you say this game's giving you outward vibes? When I feel outward vibes, I'm gonna say them out loud." I like the idea that the game does have, it kind of like thrusts you into this idea of, oh, this character that you should talk about is going to work for the holy mission of Elat. How do you find out about the holy mission of Elat? Well, that's just kind of on you to interact with the game to find it out. We're not going to hear like about who Elat is until we do it. So yeah,
But with the shipwreck,
shipwreck wouldn't be right to leave. Oh, so Oliel's staying for this period of mourning as well. Okay. Man, I don't know how I'm going to get this
I
money.
have faith in you. You'll pull through. Always strive to be better.
All right, we're doing it. But yeah, it's my gaming hat. It's an anniversary present, and it is a hat that it is merch from my favorite race car driver, Finnish driver Valtteri Bottas, who currently drives for Alfa Romeo and whose talents are currently wasted in an Alfa Romeo. Yes, Counterturn's making the observation that, there are other ways to use tribal favor, and there are a couple of ways to get tribal favor. But I really do think that probably the best, 150 silver is about the best rate you're going to get for tribal favor for a good long while. So yeah, this is Sierzo. I love this town. I think that this is like the perfect sized town to represent a small town and have like a couple of merchants around a central town square. We have a map for this town that has all of the kind of characters that we would ever want to see, and we'd be able to talk to them and such. We should talk to Roland before we like get the quests moving along. I don't always do that. But yeah, I think you can go overboard trying to kind of convey, hey, this is a town and a moderately large amount of people live here. And if you do that too much, it's too big. I think this is just right-sized for me. Let's talk to these people. We know this person, actually. We've heard them referenced. It's Ito. We know he's at home on a ship, and he's a pretty cool trainer. So let's talk about how does your character advance in Outward. There are no levels in Outward. You accumulate money, and you spend that money on stuff, or you just find the stuff. That's also fun, like in a cave. Or you spend money on trainers. Big Morrowind vibe there, although in Morrowind there were levels and you could advance without a trainer, but trainers were a big part of leveling up in Morrowind. And here, that is the main event. There are 3 parts to this trainer. We have the first part. I'm able to use the mouse in a pedagogical way. We have the bottom tier, like tier 1 stuff. This is available to everybody. Everybody, if you've got the money, these things cost, like the bottom stuff costs 50, and then we've got 100, the 100 tier here. This stuff anybody can get. Then you've got the middle tier. This is the breakthrough tier. And the game never explains this. At least, I haven't done the tutorial, what have you, but these are breakthrough points. We have 3 breakthrough points. We can get 3 breakthrough skills. There are, a dozen or so trainers out in the world. Each one has 3 tiers. Each one has a breakthrough skill. Once you have the breakthrough skill, you are able to purchase the tier 3 skills, which are a little bit more specialized, a little bit more fancy. Now, Ito is the Kazite Spellblade. This is a pretty interesting choice to put in the very first area, a trainer that is a Spellblade and who has like a lot of skills that directly relate to mana usage, which we do not start with. So it almost feels like the game is like making sure this is in front of you, so hey, there's this other resource you haven't even unlocked yet. So maybe take a look at some other trainers. Just get an idea for what you like. And we're kind of going to be doing that. I don't have a set plan for this playthrough on what kind of trainers or what's our class going to be, what's our specialization going to be, because we get 3 breakthrough points. We could spend 1 here, and this is like a pretty cool one. It just gives you 15 health, 15 stamina, and 15 mana. Remember, there are no levels. The only way you get more health is by getting passive skills, right? Is by getting skills like this. Now, interestingly, this is going to be probably the first thing we buy after our equipment. Ito also has like a tier 1 skill that just increases your health by 25 and the amount of health you restore while sleeping by 20%. It's huge. It's a must-have. We will end up getting it. But that is the leveling system, which I think is neat. Let's see if we can go find Roland down here, because he's a character we might not see a lot of in this particular playthrough.
Oh, what brings you here? How's my brother doing?
Yeah, well, Yazan's alive.
Yeah, shame.
So we know Roland's Yazan's brother.
Accidents like this happen all the time.
Accidents like this happen all the time. Not if the lighthouse is lit. Who was on duty that night? Well, the bay is pretty dangerous. If it keeps the pirates away, then I guess it's dangerous for our ships too. Interesting. Interesting. I think I've just experienced something terrible. And, you know, being in a shipwreck, as we were discussing earlier. So I think I'm going to say, well, who was on duty? Not a clue.
Wasn't me though, that's for sure.
Definitely wasn't Roland. Shouldn't you be helping your brother?
I don't think he wants my help. This is the worst day I've had in forever.
Wow. No good, very bad day. And Roland. I think we're going to find out why we don't, why I needed to talk to Roland there and not wait on it. If you do the Blue Chamber collective quest, which we will not be doing, that was the first way I beat the game. Roland actually plays a big part of it and does some interesting things in the plot of that quest, which I think are pretty cool. But we won't be interacting with him. We're just going to be collecting some stuff here. You know, we have 5 days to collect 150 silver. I think that one of the things about this game is if it's your first time playing, you kind of don't know how important things are. And you know it's a survival game because you know, oh, there's all these menus and there's a crafting menu, and I've got such a emphasis on making sure I live another day and have enough resources. And I think it's easy to want to hoard stuff. I guess if I were to give you a tip in the early game, that tip would be don't be afraid to just sell stuff. Because money is good. It's good to have. And you can turn money into things that stick around long term and don't use up weight, like skills. And we are all ready. Our bag is overweight. Let's collect some water. We've got a couple of little status effect icons. I can tell you that our bag is overweight as opposed to our pouch because that's the bag symbol. I'm wet. So I think I'm a little bit more vulnerable to lightning right now, a little less vulnerable to fire, and I have a little up arrow with a little water droplet, and that means that I'm well hydrated, and that means that my stamina comes back a little quicker, which is great because that's the yellow bar that drains when I run around. Overweight makes me slower. That is the principal thing. I think overweight can also have a bearing on your stamina usage, but that's a little bit iffier, maybe. All right.
Is there something?
So let's sell some stuff. I'm not going to sell the predator bones because they're really good, and I'm not going to sell the hide, but I'm going to sell other stuff. You might be thinking, Danny, this is pretty low key. This isn't super exciting. You're right. This is a chill stream for chill people. And we're hanging out. This is not a grit your teeth white knuckle type of game, at least in my experience. This is a game where we chill out and we manage our inventory and we sell things, and we just have a chill time together. Your life's so stressful. Your life is managing little status icons. How about you watch somebody else do that for you? I can help out. All right. We're up to 86 silver right now, out of our 150 silver blood debt. That ain't bad. That's not bad at all. I know that the game starts you here with some little recipes to make some makeshift leather clothing. So let's do that. But you gotta read the recipes first. Fun. Let's build some makeshift leather attire. Bam. Great. We're already a little bit stronger. We're a little bit hardier because of our makeshift leather attire. There are a couple quests we can do.
Can I help you? Can you lend me a hand?
He wants us to make a ceviche, a dish. We also have a quest where we can make a particular type of potion. And we have a quest from the main shopkeeper where he just wants us to go to Berg and deliver, like, something. It doesn't even actually go into your inventory, which is nice. It's a ledger, so it's just in your quest log. So as long as we talk to him, we'll get a nice gemstone, I think, from Berg.
Hey there.
And we can also we're going to keep an eye out for crystal powder. So that's going to be important. So before we leave, we've got everything we need as far as the gate warden is concerned, because we have a water skin, we have a weapon equipped, and we have a backpack equipped. However, there is this mine over here, and I kind of tongue-in-cheek told Cameron, "Oh, we can't leave through Sierzo storage because there's some in-game enemies here." There are a couple of enemies here. There's some troglodytes. But they're not too terribly tough for us. So we are going to give them a shot here. There's also just more stuff to pick up and sell here in Sierzo storage, which is great. And I'm going to change up my loadout here. There we go. Doop, doop, doop. Oh yeah, so very important counter turns. So it's possible to leave Sierzo without actually going out the front door. You can leave via this way. So the plan is I'm collecting this stuff. I'm going to get this mining pick here because mining picks, I can't tell you how important they are to have on you. You do not want to go out without a mining pick because it's probably the easiest way to make money in the game. If you have a mining pick, you can mine ore deposits, and ore deposits have gemstones embedded in them. This is a troglodyte I just hacked to death. It's 4 silver. So I'm not going to leave this way because I do want to get a free weapon skill, and I've been thinking about what weapon skill I want. I've been thinking, but I haven't completely decided. There's some good ones. So you can block. Troglodytes have if you can miss that charge skill, they're wide open. Great. Yeah, mining picks, absolutely fantastic, especially in the first area. And that's basically it here. Not much else. There's a drop down, and if you wanted to speed run the beach skill, you would go down here, drop down. It takes you right to the beach and maybe 50 yards away from the fellow who needs a bandage. We will not be doing that. We want to at least leave Sierzo via Burak in order to get our free weapon skill. And I think the old noggin's churning right now. And I'm really thinking, I think I'm going halberd. I'm in a Dungeons and Dragons game right now, and I really have been feeling like not enough halberd users in my party. You really feel it, I think, in Dungeons and Dragons when you don't have enough polearm users in your party. Such a versatile weapon. But no, really, I want to pick halberd because you can pick up Moonstrike, and I love Moonstrike. I love the range. I love that it has a little bit more impact than spears. And also, the spear special is a counter, and if you don't nail the counter, you do no extra damage. And I'm actually not that great at landing the counters in this game, so I think that's what we're doing. So I can sell the tridents. Sell that. Sell that. Go and keep the fishing harpoon. We're at 113 silver. That's not bad. Unfortunately, there's some stuff in our inventory we can't quite sell yet. Oh, I can move this to pocket. There we go.
What? All right.
The fist weapons are also really neat. I haven't gotten into it. And you know, I don't know yet whether or not we're really going to be getting too far into the expansion content. The nice thing about the definitive edition is it kind of folded in a lot of the features of the expansion into the rest of the game so that it isn't such a stark, you know, experience. Oh, you go to the kind of the antique plateau and there's this new status effect that's affecting you. Well, that status effect's been sprinkled around the whole world now. But yeah, let's get the Iron Halberd. And we've got it. We can't hold a torch, unfortunately, so I am going to need to buy a couple other things. I need to buy a backpack that I can hang a lantern out off of. I am going to be eventually getting another backpack, but it's going to take a little bit to get that. And yeah, we can sell this axe. Cool. Let's learn that. Cool. All right. So yeah, earned a bunch of money, but instead of that going to the blood price, I'm able to kind of kit myself out here, which is a relief. It's kind of a nice thing. We'll go ahead and start with the Nomad backpack, and it's probably a good idea to get a cooking pot here. Let's do that. Very strange interaction where we take our backpack out of our other backpack and put it on, dropping our original backpack, and then examining our original backpack, looting our original backpack, then looting the backpack itself, putting it in the second backpack. Now, that is what I call gaming. A well-deserved sip after that.
Is there something you need?
All right, let's sell this primitive satchel. Cool. And we've got 57 silver to spare here. Could get some other stuff. Don't really need it. Happy to save the silver for other things. Don't quite want to spend it on Ito's first upgrade. So let's just snag a couple other things here. This is a caravaner. He, for like 200 silver and an arbitrary amount of rations, he can take you to like the DLC city, which is the only real form of fast travel in the game, and it's prohibitively expensive, especially at this stage. So we won't be doing that. We're gonna be hanging around this area at the beginning.
Something?
I'm going outside.
Well, you got the essentials.
I'll teach you a skill.
Here, I'll teach you a skill.
So he does warn you, hey, make sure you're wielding the weapon you kind of want, because I'm about to teach you a skill.
There you go.
So I learned Moonswipe.
Mastering skills is the key. All right.
We're ready to go.
Comfortable letting you outside the walls.
Let's do it.
Use the door when you want to head out.
Let's not. I only really wanted to talk to him to get the skill. We're going to leave via the cave, because that's just a little bit more efficient. Kind of Dark Souls Danny here, looking for every little bit of efficiency that he can find, and you can't blame me. Oh, anybody else have tomorrow off? I know that we had one person in here. I believe it might have been some doctor's appointments. Still counts if you're not working. Might not be the most pleasant thing, but anybody else have like a real day off tomorrow? I'm leaving for a wedding, so that's why I took tomorrow off. We're doing it. I've still got my pocket bandage here. Oh, it's so dark. It's so dark. I forget. Sometimes I forget how dark this game is sometimes. Oh, ICBM. ICBM Moose. ICB Moose. Tomorrow is your day off. Okay, that's excellent. Oh no, tomorrow's your Monday. I misread it. That's even worse. That's so bad. All right. Deus Ex Machina knows the score. Deus Ex Machina knows you gotta check for blue sand. I wonder if we'll be making blue sand armor in this playthrough. I kind of don't know what my character build would be, and it's a pretty hefty investment in silver. EU gas, boy. That's current events. You do have it on account of living in Mexico. Well, good for you. And here we go, right onto the beach. Let's see how our RNG is as far as these dastardly shellfish. And we'll pick up some fish here along the way, because you can just sell them. And sell seaweed too. So you can get blue sand just from fishing as well. I think I got lucky. Yeah, I did. I don't know enough about this game, and I don't know if there's a really big speedrunning community for this game either. So, yeah. I don't know if like people have figured out like the timer that fellow is on, or whether there's like a predictable path. There is some blue sand here. It's interesting. You can only really see the blue sand if it's like dark or if it's shaded. So you can see this stuff here. And that's 14 silver, or you can use it for some pretty powerful armor. Oh, he's aggroed. He's aggroed big time. You see that big old electric ball that came my way? I don't want any part of it right now. I don't have very strong armor, don't have a lot of strong stuff. Haven't even really hotkeyed my stuff here. So I will abstain for now. But I'll be back. I'll be roughing up shrimp at some point. Oh, Fang Greatsword here. Luckily, I have memorized all of the... it's pretty easy to make a fanged weapon. You just have the weapon and then one or two Predator's fangs and some cloth to like bind it together. Yeah, it's not a lot of runs, is it? 19 players. I don't even know if those are with the definitive edition. Oh gosh, I didn't ping the Discord? Oh no, I did tweet. Something you gotta give me something for that. Should have pinged. It's okay, I've made all kinds of internet friends here. Some of y'all might not even be on the Discord. Yeah, Halberd seems strong right now. You can see I'm looking bedraggled because my stamina's low. Thank you for the hat compliment. This is my anniversary present. Yeah. Okay. Let's see, did I get my second set of Predator bones? I haven't. I haven't gotten the second set of Predator bones quite yet. Health's doing okay. I think I might push my luck a little bit, see if I can't get in a couple more fights with some hyenas. Oh, that's okay, Estonia. We got you covered here on the Twitch. Ah, yes, oil. So oil is pretty cool because you can use it to refuel lanterns. You can also use it to, you can combine it with cloth to make a fire rag. Thanks so much for joining us, Outsider Speaks. Let's see, I am at half health. I don't really have like finished food right now per se, but I will go ahead and eat some berries. Let's see if I can't just aggro a single hyena. And just get my second predator bone, because I do believe 2 predator bones are necessary at this stage. Are y'all hearing this really adventurous music? It's so adventurous. It's like epic. It's maybe a little outsized for what I'm actually doing, which is like bumming around a hyena cave, looking for an easy fight. That's not really my vibe. Like big adventure is not really my vibe. It's more like small adventure. But you know. There we go. Music's dying down. No, the music. So that's the thing. I will say the soundtrack for this game can get a little repetitive. There are basically four big songs that play in various circumstances. So maybe I'll do some research into finding a way to like put music into the stream, but not have YouTube eat it. Is that even possible? Is that like a thing that they'll let you do? Yeah, it's not the soundtrack game. That's not what you're in for. I think the poke is okay. It's just a tiny, like the recovery animation feels a little slow to me. You really got to wait until like that. I guess it's not even the recovery animation. It's like the wind up. I think it's good on the end of a combo, is my understanding. Like 1, 2, and big one, 3, yeah. But that's not the poke anymore. That's just like the special attack. Aha, here we go. Great. So we got 2 predator bones. We got a couple more leather, which will help us out. And we're good to head home now. Let's not push our luck. I am going to go like swing back the way we came in order to open up a cool little chest. That's good to hear, Estonia. I'm not really the music is not at a. I did not like design or curate the stream in a way to emphasize the music. I don't think it's the main event. It's dark. We got to turn on our lantern now. And generally speaking, if you're heading home, you can run. You can just like hustle home. You do burn a lot of stamina, which is basically like stamina damage. It reduces your maximum amount of stamina, which is not the best thing. Anything good? We didn't get a power cell. We're really looking for the power cells here. But I will pick up just other light stuff. These butterflies are really cool, and I guess actually I can showcase something here. We've got our little sleeping bag. We can put our sleeping bag out. So normally, if we go to bed out in the wilderness, we're gonna have to like allocate some of our like time resting to being on guard duty, because if we don't, we run the chance of being ambushed. So like you can rest for 8 hours, but you probably can't sleep for 8 hours. You're probably gonna have to sleep for like 2 or or be on watch for 2 of 3 of that 8 hour total. But if you plant your tent or sleeping bag near these butterflies, you get uninterrupted sleep. So that's pretty cool, huh? Free sleep. So that's kind of like some real pro play, optimal play with this game is kind of having a loose idea of like where butterflies are in the overworld so that you can get like some really efficient sleeping done where you don't have to like be on guard duty all night. So that's fun. Any hard bedtimes? No, you can stay up. And a matter of fact, if you are a magic user, you are incentivized to not go to bed, because when you get the tired status condition, you start regenerating mana. Wild stuff. The implication being, when you're a magic user, you're about like the real stuff that's happening when you're awake. That's where magic is. It's not when you're resting. Not when you're escaping reality. Wizards got the conduit to the direct reality. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Moose. It's 100% correct. Cool. So here we are. We've been taking our time. We've got our blood price basically good enough paid off because we got the tribal favor. We're going to be able to make a pretty cool weapon, hopefully, relatively soon. Yeah. I do need a little bit more cloth because right now I don't have any because I've like sold it all, but we'll be fine. Cloth comes pretty easy in this game. Crab Eye sells for a silver. It's just lying here. Grab some. What happens if you don't stand watch? So if you don't stand watch and you rest long enough, depending on how hazardous the area is, could be the overworld is like dangerous, dungeons are quite dangerous. There is a percentage chance that you will be ambushed. And if you're ambushed, you wake up and like enemies are on top of you. They're coming to attack you. Your tent's already deployed. You're really caught flat-footed. You don't have very much time to prepare. And there's no, unlike Baldur's Gate, which I became a expert in like hitting the key for rest and then quick loading if I get ambushed and then hitting the key for rest and just doing that repeatedly until I am not ambushed.
What can I do for you?
Couldn't anything ambush you in your sleep regardless? Well, if you spend enough time watching, you just avoid the ambush. So I don't know how the narrative like explanation of how that way it works is like actually situated, but it's kind of just how it works. Let's see. Able to sell quite a few things. Once again, we're just prioritizing getting silver over like accumulating most other stuff right now. Because that's the name of the game at this moment. Might save, maybe we're saving the blue sand, you know? We could save the blue sand and leave open the door that we could be like a real heavy armor type of person. Because the blue sand armor is quite good for how early you can get it. It's true, Minar, that might be it. It might just be that when enemies are walking by and they see you like literally holding your halberd, they're like, you know what? I don't think it's working. And counter turns, I agree. I think that this game rules co-op, and hot take, this game is a way better two-player game than Elden Ring is. Like, easily. Maybe that's not a hot take. Maybe everyone agrees with me. But I don't hear it. I don't hear it out in the world. Let's make some leather boots. Let's make a... Do we have enough for a leather hat? We do. Haha. Oh yeah, a bucket hat. A bucket hat. In my game? This is why I had to... This is why I had to get this, like, this barrier. You see this, like, little bluish barrier around me. Because it's really important that you know where the webcam ends and where the game begins. I don't want anybody thinking, oh, what's the deal with that little outward guy up in the corner? No. Okay. Only need the linen cloth here. Actually, I might be able to just buy like a piece so that we can kind of complete our summer look just in time for the fall. You selling just a piece of linen, maybe? Yeah, I'm happy to pay a single one. That's fine. The menuing. Aha! Fang halberd. Fang halberd. Oh, look how it's ferocious. I mean, it is intimidating. There's no doubt about it. This person is pretty intimidating. Here we go. Well, let's get this blood debt behind us here. We can check Risa's position. Risa's definitely moved to her kind of hilltop manor here, where she lords over everyone. You know, able to basically force majeure, I guess. Like, tell people, okay, this is a time of mourning. This is not a time for mourning. This is when debts must be paid. This is not when debts must be paid. Oh yeah, I am very thirsty. That is a good catch. It's actually a nice opportunity to kind of look at what very thirsty means. So my max stamina decreases 3 times faster. So that's like the stamina damage. And max health decreases 3 times faster when I'm hungry. Makes you say very foolish things. It's true. So we can take a few sips here. And now we're just hungry. I'll eat a bite of bread. There we go. All right, let's pay this off and kind of maybe start playing the game. Maybe just start playing the game. I want to talk about my blood price. I've earned a tribal favor. Excellent.
I'm impressed. Well done.
Great.
Cierzo thanks you for your great deed. Oliel and Izan are leaving Cierzo.
Oh, wow. They're leaving?
Oliel is leaving to go join the holy mission of Elat.
I guess I'll miss her around
As
here.
will we all.
Yeah, I don't think I'm convincing somebody with a lightsaber to stay. I think a person with a lightsaber is able to make their own decisions.
A blood price has been declared upon his bloodline.
Whoa! So it was obviously, spoiler alert. It was Roland. Roland was in the lighthouse when the ship wrecked. And now a blood price has been put on Yazan because his brother did this bad thing. And now Yazan is going to split town. Yazan's like, I'm not paying for my brother's mess up, for my brother's mistake. He was on duty. We've got a log. We see when he checked in. We see when he checked out.
This is unacceptable.
Yazan's just going. Just leaving. Damn. Losing 2 friends in one day. I know it can't be easy, but
Come back once you've said your goodbyes to them.
we've got to enforce this awful debt system on people. Unthinkable to do otherwise. I am thirsty yet again. Let's check out what Risa's got here. Risa's got a cool hat. Dang. It's a little less... Got a little bit less resistance than my makeshift leather hat, but it does have negative 5% stamina cost, which is pretty cool. And look at that. That's pretty wild. A lot of interesting fashion choices going on in this game. I don't know what this is, some like eyes wide shut with Wild Wild West, maybe. I don't know. Stuff's going on, though. I think a lot of the visual design in Outward is pretty interesting. Yeah, it's pretty scary. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's a look. But I do like the negative 5% stamina usage. You'll end up feeling that over kind of longitudinally over as time goes on here. A couple other, like, knickknacks we can sell here. Well, let's talk to Oliel. See what the deal is.
I guess this is goodbye. I'm leaving this place to join the holy mission.
Mm-hmm. Man, we will miss you.
I'll miss it too. Risa has done some things I can't agree with. I can't talk about it.
I can talk about plenty of things she's done. I'm sure you've got your secrets, Oliel, but my personal experience with Risa, it's a mixed bag, I would say.
All right? Listen.
Oh, and spend my life. I mean, I'll think about it.
Now we're talking. The Holy Mission is about more than just working under a manifested god.
So that's an interesting little discrepancy. The verbal dialogue said working under a manifested god, but the final game text here just says working for a god. We're fighting the Scourge. Wait, what a manifested god? Scourge? We'll find out.
Have discipline and mastery over yourself.
They've got some precepts that they work towards. So when you join the Holy Mission, you give up your bloodline, which means I'm free and clear on the whole blood price thing. Now, interestingly, I guess I just keep my lighthouse. That's a little bit of a misstep in this game. You do get to keep your lighthouse, even though it's pretty obvious that like the community views your lighthouse as like on the table. Yeah. So
If you do want to join us,
we're gonna get
meet
some
me on
instructions,
Zoom
like a
in
little
the
bit of
Hello.
directions here.
Once in the marsh, follow the Pilgrim Road.
Now I will say, Monsoon is not the easiest of the kind of three cities, the three plot cities to get to. It ain't the hardest. I'm going to talk to Yazan, and his area is like 2 overworld maps away. And then you have to like brave a desert to get there.
I take it you've heard the news? Come to see your old pal off?
Yeah.
I've got one little fishing barge to my name. And by a lot, I'm gonna use it.
I mean, the tax implications are interesting because it does seem like the game is suggesting that, like, abandoning your bloodline gets you off the hook for the debt, and it also somehow insulates your property, like your real estate. I'm in for it. So yeah, he's going to the Holy Kingdom of Levant.
Chasing progress to create a better world.
They've turned their back against tradition. I'm going to tell him, go chase your dreams.
I will chase the Levantine dream and make it my own.
Are you going to forgive your brother?
Not in 1,000 years.
Not in 1,000 years. It was, in fact, a preventative. I mean, Roland did have one job, just to keep it lit. If you could just, you could take a nap, just wake up occasionally, make sure it's still lit.
Well, that's just wonderful.
Gonna miss you, Yazan. Hope you have a good time.
To make the journey to Levant.
And yeah, it's a ways. We might be going to Levant, but here's what's wild. There's like 2 ways you can beat this game. Complete plot, never go to the desert of Levant. Wild. The choice we make that's, coming up, maybe not this session, because I do think that there's a nice little thing we can do here, which is we can start the next quest, but it's not timed. We get a lot of time to like make our decision about who we join, and we'll be able to like have some adventures here in the Chersonese, somewhere in there. A lot owns that lighthouse now. See that lighthouse? A lot owns it. The cops are here. But, I mean, what is Risa if not head cop, judge, jury, executioner?
There you are. Urgent news just came in.
Urgent news? Well, what happened?
This is troubling.
Okay, an official council meeting has been called. Okay.
I'm going to Berg, the main settlement in the Enmakar forest.
My halberd is objectively better than theirs. You look at the stats, it's by a mile. Okay.
I have an offer. I will pay off the rest of your blood price. And adopt you into the Aberdeen bloodline.
So this is an interesting offer by Risa. She's saying, hey, you've still got like a bunch of money left on your blood price, but if I adopt you, I can just pay it. So she has the means right now to like get me out of my awful situation. She's just not. But if I join her, family, and ostensibly, get on the hook for whatever she wants me to do, and still, where's all this coming from? Well, her daughter has like abandoned her, and so now she doesn't have like a number 2.
The Blue Chamber Collective is about coming together as a family.
Share our burdens as a family. If you're in my family, maybe not your family, but here at the Aberdeens, we're family.
Well then.
We give up a little of what we want, making sure everybody has what they need to survive.
It's your choice.
I've got a choice.
Your life is in your
I like how Reese's answer here is, you're an adult. You can do what you want in this game. Let me tell you about the mechanism in which we travel from region to region.
Well, then.
Let me give you travel rations, which are required. But you can also create your own.
Here's what you need to know.
And Berg is the closest. I think when I look at the Steam stats for this game, I think for most people that only beat it once, they're probably beating it in the Blue Chamber Collective quest line. Folks asking if these plot lines converge or are they distinct. So kind of the way it works is at the beginning, they all kind of converge on this event, on this big council meeting, and then they wildly diverge, and then it all funnels back to like a big event at the end. But the specific things that happen in the quest line can change a couple of things about that big event, which is interesting. But the middle part, before the bottleneck and the bottleneck, the middle part is wildly different, like doing completely different things for completely different reasons in completely different places. So pretty cool. So if we look at our actual quest log here, it's looking to the future. Let's just say, hey, you can go where you want. And a lot of the main quests in this game are timed. And fortunately, we're not being timed right now, so we can kind of take our time. And there's actually like a lot of loose ends I would like to tie up in this region, in the starting region. So I think we're going to be here a while. We might be here the rest of this gaming session and then maybe a couple more. Because it's just nice to have an opportunity to like adventure without like the time pressure forcing you to go in a particular direction. I'm here about work. I'm looking for something I can do. More than happy to put my life in danger. And she wants me to get a rare mushroom. Sounds like an adventure. I'll do it. Sounds great. Let me know.
I'll see you.
I think that in large part, Helen is here to give that quest because it pays off, about half of the blood price. So if you are a new player and you're just like looking around town and you don't know about the tribal favor, you can talk to that quest giver and she's going to give you a quest that you're probably going to be able to pay off the tribal favor if you go do this quest. Like between the stuff you loot in the dungeon. Are we doing Purple Mountain stuff today? We might at the tail end of the session. Because I do want to get mana. I don't want to do like a full streaming experience without interacting with an entire resource. So we are going to get mana. Can I sell anything else? I think I can, yeah. Ooh, I'm selling my bucket hat. But, sacrifices have to be made. And this is what I'm talking about. We're going to spend 100 gold to buy a gold ingot. So there are certain items that are always sold for and purchased for the same amount. And gemstones and gold bars are those items where you can buy a gold bar for 100 and you'll be able to sell it for 100 later if you need the liquidity. How long am I playing today? Oh, let's say it's almost, looks like 10 till 7. Let's play till 8:30. Let's play a good long while. Let's have a fun time. And now we're free and clear. I am a little hungry. I think I'm going to be attacking all of these chocobos because they are a menace, and there is a 2% chance they will drop a hat. You gotta have the chocobo hat. The Fang Halberd makes short work of the chocobo. And that egg will be a tasty meal. You can certainly be vegan or vegetarian in Outward. A little bit more difficult because in order to regenerate health, you need like a protein meal. And your options there are kind of limited to meat or maybe mushrooms if you can get some mushroom recipes. Here, look at us. We're just talking about recipes in our little survival game. This is how you know we're having a real chill time. Halberd's doing good. I haven't even used Moonswipe yet. The Halberd has a bleeding status effect associated with it, which is kind of neat, which helps finish some enemies off. Oh, legumes. I'm not sure. Here for a good time and a long time. You're in luck. You're in luck. Outward is that game. And you know what? We're not under any time pressure. I'm a little hungry. Let's gather some wood. Let's make a campfire. You know, we're about to go into a dangerous dungeon. We might need some food. Yeah, the hyenas are pretty cool. They also have some, like, scales on them, which is interesting. There are not a lot of enemy models in this game, but I really think that the ones that are here are quite cool. Meat stew. This is a classic. You get 3 meat stews for 1 piece of meat, 1 like fruit or vegetable, and some salt. That's fantastic. We'll make a bunch. Great. Let's set up some little hotkeys here. Got our Moonswipe, got our kick. Those are good. And then I'll kind of set up a maybe a secondary tree over here for like maybe our water, maybe like some berries because they do give a little stamina boost, so they can be helpful. Yeah, that'll help us out. That'll work. And remember, leave no trace. That's the first rule of camping. Leave no trace. We're going to try to keep the world nice and tidy. And now, I think this is actually somewhat appropriate music. It's very faint in the background, but yeah. I have to say, counter turns, I really enjoy the game on controller. I think it is probably a little less clumsy with the hotkeys being all available to you instead of like switching between, 4 and 4. But, controllers for chill games for me. And also, I guess, Dark Souls. I guess my real rule is like if it's third person, I like controller, and if it's first person, I like the keyboard and mouse. I think that's kind of where I am. I think there might be some maze over here. Some more butterflies, that's important to note. For being a game that has kind of this reputation for being so cutthroat and and user not friendly. I mean, this is a dungeon, and we are told to come here right away. It's literally just around the corner. There are butterflies right here. Now, granted, I guess they don't ever tell you what butterflies are. You could play this game for 60 hours and not know that butterflies, if you camp there, you're immune to ambushes. So maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Ooh, getting some ochre spice beetles. How are we doing on weight? We're 32 out of 50. We're going to be leaving here with a full inventory, let me tell you. We can actually drop our improvised bedroll. We can drop some torches because they weigh stuff and we can't sell them. I think that that's actually a perfectly valid interpretation, that the butterflies are fighting off the potential ambushers. Blister Burrow. Look at this load screen. This is wild. You gotta love the bugs in the ore veins. Look at this poor sap. Take all. Rip. I think the game looks pretty nice. Look at this lighting. You don't need ray tracing. You don't need ray tracing. We got this. And just to get an idea, look how dark it is without the lantern. Wow. Okay, here we go. I think this is probably one of my favorite like first dungeons in any game. Bam! Just annihilated. Once you get a fanged halberd, the regular troglodytes are not posing much of a threat. I'm probably not going to be picking up these troglodyte tridents. I'll pick them up on the way out. This is a pretty cool secret. If you get to like a small sapphire and like another gemstone, you can slot them into these doors. And this is kind of the first place where you're introduced to this mechanic. There's several caves in the world that have this same deal. And there's like some loot on the other side. That being said, I think the total value of the gems you slot in there is worth like maybe 60 silver. So I'm not sure how worth it is to do that. I don't know if like the loot on the other side of that's really worth it. Let's have some stew, shall we? Oh yeah. So now we got a little plus sign down there, so we've got some HP regeneration. Into the darkness here. Oh, cool. I'm not going to go that way just yet, because there's some other stuff we can get to. Oh, small sapphire. So that's actually, I wonder if it's guaranteed to get the 2 gems you need to open those doors in here. I don't think so. I know that one is a small sapphire. If I find it, I'll open the door, see what we find. Sometimes I think that kind of, the loot you get there might be like a little bit higher level. Yeah, 3-hit combo absolutely does the work here. This is pretty neat. Giant heart garnet. Large mineralized heart of an ash giant. I reckon that's an ash giant, right? Pretty wild. And yes, counter turns. I completely agree. Your so observation being made. So the way this backpack works is that the lantern's hanging off the back of it. So of course you're getting no light in front, very little light in front of you. This guy's ready to join the party here. Bam, bam. Bam. There are some backpacks that actually put the lantern on a pole that goes out in front of you. I think at least one does that, which is pretty cool. Let's see, anything else in here? I think there might be some stuff, just some mushrooms. These mushrooms are cool. I've got 5 of them, which means, I believe, if my memory serves... Oh, I need a cooking pot. Okay, we'll figure it out later. I think you can put 4 of those regular old green mushrooms into a cooking pot, and you get a little mushroom bar, which restores max HP, which is pretty cool. Let's see, I'm going to keep hugging left here, because there's like a big old bunch of them, like in the middle area. Got some wood. No need to pick that up. But yeah, I think that this area, this beginning dungeon, is just doing a lot with a very little. I think it's a very elegant little dungeon here. Very cool. And with that, I believe we've kind of looped around here, because this looks familiar. How am I doing on weight? Ooh, 50 out of 50 on the backpack. I've got 10 more pounds available on the pockets. As I drink water, I will have a little bit more weight, like 0.3 weight every sip. I can actually probably do some equations to figure out like how much maybe I weigh. I don't know. Here's some. Gathering oil. Ooh, gravel beetle. And my bag's overweight. That's fine. Ooh, this might be better. 5 impact resistance? Absolutely. So it's cool. The equipment that you're wearing doesn't count against your weight allowances. Because you're wearing them. So I appreciate that. It makes wearing heavy armor a lot more viable. But it does add additional challenges to like wearing heavy armor but wanting to switch in and out of that armor for like maybe utility purposes. Because, you know, the armor's, it weighs a lot. So, you know, when it's in your inventory, it's actually hurting you a bit. Free water? Don't mind if I do. It's clean water. Fill up my canteen. And we get some mana stones. These are kind of like special little mining areas. And it begins the struggle. I'm going to try to be as efficient as I can and not spend too much time agonizing over what to drop and what not. Feel free to taunt me if I ever if I ever fall into that habit during this playthrough. You can yell, but you promised you wouldn't spend 20 minutes agonizing over which bebop to drop. I'll try not to. I'll try to just, oh goodness, here we go. They do patrol around, and it looks like we've got some special guys here. This one definitely got buffed a little bit. And let's get really dangerous, shall we? We've got a troglodyte leader of some kind. Let's do it. Now the combat's getting serious. Now the backpack is off. Really just want to lead you. I want to lead these two away from each other. I really don't want to have to fight both of them. Oh yeah, it tracks. It tracks. I'm in pain. Oh no. Okay. Let's go down here. I've done it. I don't have bandages in my pocket. My bandages were in my backpack, which I dropped strategically. So I'm going to have to run over here. Pick it up. Run. Ah! Run behind this. Here we go. Drink soup. Things are getting a little less chill. You know, I can't promise 100% chill uptime. Sometimes the enemies have their say over what kind of experience we're going to have. Oh. I do like it that you can use a fire bandage from your backpack, which is on the ground. All right. Let's do some extreme gaming. The range here is huge. Oh. Greed. Got him. Troglodyte Archmage. Wow. Look at the devastation we've wrought. Like, truly. So, if you ever drop your backpack in a cave, and you're like, oh my god, where did I pick it up? Well, luckily, this is the one thing that the game will allow you to have a little, mini-map icon. So we can easily find our backpack again. The backpack is the main character of the game. Was this my intention? Yeah, that we were kind of told we needed to come here and collect a rare mushroom. Unfortunately, making peace with the troglodytes was not an option. Troglodyte staff. Here's a special secret. You can decraft a troglodyte staff for 3 mana stones. It's a little bit more weight efficient that way. Yeah. Special stuff. I'm not going to argue. There was a little bit of devastation. It wasn't my first choice, but it kind of all fell into place here. Just needed to get this big old mushroom. It's a mushroom shield, and that is what Helen is after. Helen will also pay for the mineralized ash giant heart, which is interesting because if you do the blue collective quest, you'll end up finding that item is actually a very important item for ash giant culture. Which I guess that's not too surprising, right? That, like, a mineralized ash giant heart is really important. I don't know. In any case, it won't be too important to us, so I think I'm okay with selling it to Helen for, like, I think it's like 30 silver or something. It's fine. Let's see if I remembered the way out. Should be on our left. Here we go. Nope. False alarm should be on our left. Here we go. Is there any sort of stagger mechanic in this? The troglodyte didn't seem super phased by it. So yes, there is. I will note it the next time I get into combat. I'll kind of like highlight it for you. Every enemy has a white bar. The white bar fills up super fast. So it really does have to be like multiple very large hits to reduce an enemy's white bar. I have a white bar as well. When you're under half of the white bar, that's when you start getting little stun animations and like you can be interrupted when you get hit. When your white bar runs out, you just fall on your ass. And you're in a real bad way at that point. Pretty cool overall. Pretty darn cool. So here's some little hyenas we might be able to illustrate here. So white bar under the health bar. It goes down, but it just so happens that I'm doing so much damage that you don't really get to interact with that as much. But you see it coming back relatively quickly here. A lot of enemies, it comes back like super quick. This guy just sat down for a rest. Let's see, I'm okay getting a little over-encumbered here. Yeah, my white bar is in the center bottom, and when I am blocking, it turns kind of brownish, and it adds a shield. And then that is while I'm holding block, you have to like deplete that block meter until you start eating into the stability bar again, the white bar. So pretty interesting stuff. Thanks so much for joining me on this pleasant little Thursday evening. It's kind of my Friday. I know I've pointed this out several times, but I'm just happy about it. I had my folks in the Discord will know that I had my wine spoon hours around like 3:30 today. Oh yeah, I've got tomorrow off. Going out of town, going to a wedding. Just kind of see some old college friends. That'll be a nice little weekend getaway. Thank you. So we're back in town. We just had a very successful little excursion there. Coming back with a full backpack.
Right. All
So let's sell some stuff. And this is the game. If you're kind of expecting more or less, your expectations may be a little miscalibrated. There's a lot of consumables that you can roll around. You really have to you really have to avoid the temptation of that some people have with kind of action role-playing games of like hoarding a bunch of like consumables. Just sell them. The money's good. Also, actually, I will. Hold on, which one is this? Protects against the cold. I will actually keep those. But yeah, we're just selling stuff. Let's go on some more adventures. Pressure plate traps are interesting. You can't deploy those until you purchase a special skill from I think it's the Rogue Engineer tree. But they're pretty interesting if you want to like specialize in like building traps and then just being a little gremlin. That can be fun. That's fine. Cool. We got a chunk of change now. We got 224 silver. Let's purchase some much needed upgrades for our character. And this will be kind of the first little bit of like non-equipment based character advancement we deal with here.
Amber, my friend.
I want to train with you. This looks great. That was 50. So it's really expensive for the breakthrough skills. Those are 500 big ones. But that's okay. We got plenty of time. Move to bag. Most clothes you can decraft into cloth, linen cloth, and linen cloth super useful. You can make rags out of them that improve your weapon for a short time. You can also, what else can you do? Oh, you make bandages, which are super important. Anything else we need to buy? I don't think so. I guess I need to like learn. I do try to learn the. I haven't memorized all of like the cooking recipes. I know most of the like blacksmithing crafting. I'll sometimes make bandages. Cameron doesn't have a bespoke little Twitch user like I do for watching the Range Touch stream. Cameron just logs on to the Range Touch itself. The chat is coming from inside the house. It's true. I think we're going to go for a rest here. And but we're going to rest for like 24 hours so that it's still, there's just a torch on my floor, you know, no hazard here. That's something this game's not ready to implement. So we can repair our goods. You don't actually have to like pay money to repair anything if you just have enough time. that you can devote to it. Oh, I might have another bite of a Hawaiian roll. That's good. I do need to eat these because they're getting a little stale. I didn't realize they would get stale so quickly. And I guess that's because I've never been in a situation where like Hawaiian rolls have been available, but I haven't been eating them. I'm just running around in the dark. I could be running against a wall. I am. Let's turn on the torch. Let's collect some blue sand. I'm really enjoying the halberd play. And I'm thinking the run will lean into that a bit. Maybe we'll make a spellblade, but instead of like the Kazite spellblade subclass, which kind of has a lot of interaction with the shield, maybe we'll make kind of a two-handed spellblade deal. So I was thinking, ooh, the Wind Cabal guy. Oh yeah. Because he's kind of got some interesting stuff that boosts other boons. There's a lot of stuff you can do here. So I'm just kind of taking a shortcut to the beach. We can collect a lot of blue sand down here. And once again, this is the energy of the stream. If you want to just have something on where we're collecting blue sand together, where we're discovering mysterious stuff about the world, we're taking our time. Remember that, I don't know when this started, probably a long time ago, where people started talking about things like slow dining. It's a little, that's a little fancy pants for my taste, but could this be slow gaming? Probably not. There's probably a lot of baggage associated with that kind of term. A lot of nostalgia, maybe. Maybe a real indictment of like certain things in society, but in so trying to do it, you end up doing a bunch of other weird stuff ideologically. So maybe we're not slow gaming, but maybe we're gaming slow. We're slow streaming. Mm-hmm. So blue sand should turn up. We should be able to see it. Oh, but the moon's really out. Cameron loved this moon when we were making the video. He's like, somebody messed up the moon. Maybe we'll find out together why the moon looks that way. Let's see if we can't sneak by this shrimp. Oh, I see some blue sand up there. Maybe. It's dark out here. Dark out on the beach. Hey, what's the rush? I plan on being here, in a couple hours. No need to rush it. And then there's also the thing of like, I've been trying to really take to heart the lesson of kind of slow is fast. Sometimes when you take your time on something, you'll end up completing it quicker than if you really rush it. No, it's true. I did not warn Cameron that it is possible to just, like the difference between hitting Y and holding Y when you're next to a body of water. Hitting it only refills your water skin. Holding it just has you drink from it unfiltered, which he did. He drank like some unfiltered seawater and made himself really thirsty. Let's gather some blue sand. We've got some shrimp there, too. I believe there's a crab here. Gather the blue sand. Ooh, the aquamarine. That's the other gem. And I don't think there's too much over there, so I'm not going to bother the shrimp. That's the thing about a lot of fighting in Outward. It's not all, like, I do think it's a game where fighting does deplete your resources. I think it's a little bit harder to do, like, a melee build that's no hit in Outward, because sometimes you do just need to, like, okay, I need to commit to a string of attacks here. And it can be hard to time when the enemy is going to, like, go hog wild and do a 4-hit combo themselves, and when they're just going to hit you once and then hide behind a shield. So sometimes you got to do it. If I see any fish on the way, I'll see about doing some fishing. But it's a nice evening here on the beach. Still keeping our eye out for any blue sand. Hard to see the fish at night. And I think there's actually like a mineral associated with some of these like big shells. And you can craft a set of armor out of it. And it increases the damage you do, which is pretty neat. I don't think it's like... It's by no means heavy like the blue sand armor is heavy. But it's a nice tool to have. Let's see, it's not this particular model. Maybe we'll find another one. I see a chocobo up there. Hard to see the fish at night. Mm-hmm, yeah. I might use that one day. Look at that. It is hard to see him at night. Can't see him at all. Oh, there, you can barely see him. Cameron's tearing his hair out. He was like, he curated the summer streaming series. He curated the wild experience that is Final Fantasy VIII. Wild time travel. Teen mercenary child soldiers. Outfits that look like they're from, a Tarsum flick. And here I am, just moseying down the beach, collecting fish, collecting blue sand, not getting in any fights. It's a different type of experience. And it's one we're going to be doing for weeks to come. We're going to be doing this. Maybe not as much of this. We are still kind of in the collecting resources and money phase of the game. And we're not always going to be here. But, you can check what time it is. It's 2:26 in the morning. And you can see the lighthouse from here. Very cool. So I wonder, we've gone down this beach all the way. We're like basically here, thereabouts. So we can kind of do a circle back to Sierzo. We could try to do some mana stuff. Our backpack is getting a little bit full, but the mana thing actually does not take up, like, we're not going to be collecting a lot of stuff getting the mana. So I think let's mosey on to Mount Mana. Yeah, temperature's fresh. I think I've got a tiny bit. So I've got cold weather defense. I've got 15 plus 10 plus 5 here. So that should be related. Oh, let's see where it is. Yeah, I see it. In that, it's the snowflake. It's a 25 there. So if I had 0 cold weather defense with the weather being fresh right now, I do think that I would start to get cold. Let's see if that's the case. Yep, there it is. The meter has appeared, and I'm going to start to get cold. There are a couple of levels to being cold, and the first level is, okay, you're cold. I think that you might get some stamina penalties or maybe speed penalties. But the real problem is when you are cold, you can catch cold, which I don't know if that's biologically exactly how it works. I think I was told that's not necessarily the case, but yeah, you can catch a cold, and catching a cold sucks. It takes a while to recover from one, and I think it has like quite a few penalties associated with it, so not something you want necessarily. We're just heading towards Mount Mana. Estonia 76, confirming it's not how it works. But is it the case that if you get really cold, your immune system may in some way be compromised? Like, if your body's spending the energy, keeping yourself warm by making you shiver and such, are you optimally capable of fighting off viruses and such? Answer me that. That's what the people want to know. Someone has to sneeze near you to get sick. Well, I'm constantly surrounded by people, by entities. Look at me. Practically the agoraphobia here. You got to worry. This is an area we're definitely going to be coming back to. Just south here on the coast is Vindeville Fortress, which if you watched the video that Cameron edited, took him years to edit it. Not really. Oh, my old lantern's almost burned out. I'll have to replace the oil. You'll know that the Vindeville Fortress up to a bunch of folks. They're up to no good. And I think I'm actually going to try to take care of them before I get on any quest timers, because if you don't, some like unfortunate stuff can happen. So this is one way to get to Manaland. There are 3 entrances, one for each main faction. The easiest one probably is the Blue Collective, and I think that's why Cameron and I ended up not getting mana during our playthrough, is we ended up going into a different entrance. They're all challenging. They're not, none of them are a walk in the park, but it's just kind of the Blue Collective one is engineered to run away from enemies and kind of run through it. And the guard at the front door actually tells you as much. I do know of a big money exploit in the fortress, which was fixed in the definitive edition to my knowledge. The exploit I think we're talking about is one where when you are captured, you can exchange metal. You can exchange ore for money. And that's like the mechanism that allows you to eventually escape. You earn enough and you can leave. And I think in the old edition, you could break, instead of like doing that to break out, you could break in and talk to the prisoner there, who's setting up that exchange, and just like, transform a bunch of your metal, which can only sell for 1 each, into, 5 times more than that. But now when you break in, none of the prisoners will interact with you. They will not greet you as a liberator. They are too afraid. And that basically happens when any of the guards aggro you. So yeah, they did get rid of that money exploit. Still plenty of ways to make money. But I do think it's probably important to like patch out like exploity ways to make money, because making money is like the way advancement works in the game. That is like the big thing standing between me and being the character I want. Ultimately that and travel time. But I don't think, and this is the reason why I don't think a lot of people are speedrunning this, the game's about chilling out, man. It's about relaxing. It's about not taking things too quickly. It's about taking the time to get your gaberries. Little bridge over here. Let's go check out that before we go in the in Magic Mountain. Let's mine some mana stones. Got some Hackamite there. I think Hackamite, you can use it to make some wizardy type stuff in the Levant area, in the Levant town. But for us, it's just gonna be another gem we can sell. Yeah, they can make wizardly robes from it. I'm really feeling the melee playthrough on this one though, with like a touch of magic. So I don't know if we're going to be wearing robes. Another thing the definitive edition did is it made armor a lot more attractive by basically changing the way damage mitigation works and adjusting the numbers. And now armor really does let you go toe-to-toe with enemies in a way that you couldn't maybe before the definitive edition. Now you're definitely incentivized to wear armor if you're doing that, and you feel it if you are not wearing heavy armor and you're fighting people toe to toe. I think there's like stuff over here. Let's see. If there isn't a chest right here, we'll go back. I do know that there is like a path down here, which is pretty neat. But it leads to like a dread pirate ghost who's just incredibly mean, and we don't really have an item that will allow us to fight a ghost right now, so we'll just head back. It's pretty low in the mix, like I said, because didn't want the sometimes quite loud music to overwhelm the stream. But we're just hearing some morning bird calls here at 5:51 in the morning as the sun rises over the Chersonese. We can see. Let me see that. What is this called? Chersonese. Chersonese. Let's use 3 syllables. We can see the pylon vigil there. So we're like roughly here. Yeah. We're before the bridge, right? Yeah. So we're roughly here, and we can see the pylon vigil over here. We can see a creature in the pylon vigil, and we're actually going to do a playthrough that reveals what's in that pylon vigil. We'll find out. We will figure it out. But I think it's time to become a little bit magical. What's in the box? What's in the pylon vigil? We will find out. It's quite dramatic. If you've listened to the to our kind of Patreon podcast where Cameron and I talk about a bunch of nonsense, what do we talk about? Depends on what year you're listening to. Are you listening to 2018, like an episode recorded in maybe 2018? You're probably listening to a lot of Magic the Gathering talk. Are you listening now? Like for the last episode, probably listening to some Outward talk. Other times, Unmatched. That's what you're listening to. But we talk about what's in the pylon. It's a fun little surprise. Conflux Mountain Guard.
Can I help you?
This is the path to the Chersonese ley line that the Blue Chamber Collective maintains. If you seek power of magic, you got to make your way through this. And it's a labyrinth. You can find yourself lost, but there are markers to guide you. Those who pay heed to the wisdom of the Blue Chamber's ancestors will have little trouble navigating these halls. So, also, there are a great number of troglodytes. And some of them have swallowed mana stones and been transformed into shamans of their kind. So that's interesting. I do think, look, a lot of good things to say about Outward, but troglodytes are not interesting, particularly. They're kind of just goblins. They exist to be killed. And they don't even get the dignity of like having shamans as like an integral part of your culture. They apparently get transformed into magic users when they eat a mana stone, which there are plenty of mana stones here because this is Magic Mountain. So a little disappointing on that front. A lot of uncritical fantasy stuff, but there's also weirder fantasy stuff like Deus Ex Bracken is pointing out. And yes, so while my lantern is on, people are going to see me. I think that it's probably net benefit to leave the lantern on in this circumstance because it's a little bit of a puzzle to get through this labyrinth. Remember, the text was, those who follow like the ancestors. So basically, every time I get to an intersection, I'm going to look for a skull with some blue painting on it, and I'm going to go that way. And eventually, I'm going to start getting chased by troglodytes. But that's okay. I just need to keep my eye on the prize here. What do we got here? Hopefully I have not already been turned around. I have! Betrayed by the ancestors. Betrayal. Stinging betrayal. Let's see if I miscalibrated this. Maybe it was like intended to send me this way. No? Oh no! Well, that's okay. That's the real one. Well, it's hard to tell. Okay, here's another one. Okay, I think this is leading kind of the correct way. Looking for a skull. There's a skull. Oh, yeah. Now we're into the real danger here. Ah. Oh, chest. Do I have time to open this? No, everyone's chasing me. And also, I've been led astray by the ancestors once again. Maybe down this way. Here we go. This looks a little familiar. And there's the final skull. And we are through, but took all our stamina there and several wrong turns. It's interesting. I think the last time I did this, I was like, maybe I was just trying to go a little quicker. Maybe I was trying to rush. It's interesting, just after our little discussion about slows fast sometimes. But yeah, we're here at the Conflux Chamber. Cue more heroic sounding music. And I know, I'm looking at the stream, it is crushed. It's even more crushed for me because I've got like a light in my face. So I'm not seeing like a lot, but I promise this is the way the game looks. I think this is like the intended aesthetic experience. But whoa! There is a dinosaur down there. It beat my my butt. Really kicked my ass last time I went down there. But yeah, this is where you can get mana.
Welcome. Bow your head in respect.
Yeah.
Out to the end of the labor.
Where the very world itself will pour its power into you if you make room for it. Dang. Wild stuff. Absolutely wild stuff. Let's get a little magical. You thought that was Filth Watcher. Nah. Fifth Watcher. And this person is the First Watcher.
You have come. I sensed that someone who had the potential for magic was on their way.
This person's maybe had a little bit too much mana. Look at their eyes are glowing.
If you wish to gain magic, you must first give. Be careful how much of your life and stamina you give up, because you can never get it back.
It's true, you can't get it back.
The first time you gain mana, you will gain your first spell, the Spark.
Okay. So, you'll note we have 125 health because we got that upgrade from Ito. So 1 point of mana channeling gets us 20 mana and costs us 5 health and stamina. So interestingly, if you go, absolutely wild here and do 10, you actually end up with more net stats, right? Because you're giving up basically every point you're giving up 10 points of health and stamina combined for 20 points of mana. That's a little misleading though, because every time you rest, your mana, you're only going to start at like half mana. So it's more or less 1. 4 is actually an interesting number, Jim, because you actually end up with an even spread. I think 4 is a little bit aggressive for maybe what we're going to do. I think we're going to do 2 for 40 or so. Jim's saying, no, I'm good at melee. Look, perhaps thou protests too much. But no, I hear what you're saying. You can be a very well-rounded character at 4. Yeah, how about I compromise on my initial estimate of 2 and then the 4, which is kind of an even spread. I do want to be like a very tanky person. Oh, wow. Lilifin did 15. I can't even get that high. I can't even get that high. I'm just even thinking about it. Lilifin going to 25 stamina? 20? I realize you're just joking. Let's do 3. This change is permanent, so it's really interesting. When you do if you do the Blue Chamber collective quest line, you meet up with Roland again. And let's just say Roland is a little imprudent when it comes to how much mana he gets. So I just learned Spark, which is cool. And I can choose to learn a different skill. I'm going to choose Reveal Souls, because I think I might be heading in a direction where that's useful anyway. Fire Sigil is interesting. You put this Fire Sigil on the ground, but it requires a consumable. It requires a Fire Stone, which requires like a Mana Stone and then another. It's just a little fiddly in terms of like how Fire Sigil works, but the idea is interesting. You add a sigil to the ground and then it transforms the other spells that you cast around the sigil. So Spark becomes Fireball. But we're going to be doing more of a Spellbladey type thing, so we'll do Reveal Souls. And let's go ahead and I think there's one more boon we can learn down here.
Welcome. I am a watcher.
I notice most mages don't wear helmets. Oh yeah, it influences your body's flow of mana. I know that.
Magic is the weapon.
I want to train with you.
Of a patient.
So yeah, I can learn Boon of Cold, which this is interesting. So if I do decide to go the route of Spellblade with Ito, he has a way of turning a boon into a weapon enchantment. I don't know how important that is because it's pretty easy to enchant
Listen to me.
your weapon anyway, but like a free boon here, not a free one for 50 silver, it's a pretty good deal overall. Doop. And now we're magical. I've got all 3 bars down there in the bottom left-hand corner. I've got a blue bar now, so that's that's something. Let's refill our lantern. Very important.
Feel free to use one of
Oh yeah, and I can kind of like take this opportunity to sell. Oh, and I didn't get Helena her mushroom, so I need to remember to do that. Doing some selling. Oh, we found an alchemy kit somewhere. That's a great pickup. Those are expensive to buy. I think that's like 50 or 60 silver, somewhere in there. let's see, I can't remember if I can buy. Oh no, Hackamite is one of those things that I can just like buy. Cool. All right, so we're probably good to head back to Sierzo, and I really want to start like making progress on getting a better storage solution. Might go to, you know, I think that if Outward were in the real world, we would be thinking about going to the container store right now. Because ultimately, in a game that is about kind of collecting a bunch of stuff so that you can sell it, right? And then you use that money to buy better stuff or skills. Really important to be able to collect a lot of stuff. And actually, let's take the opportunity here to rest a little bit. I bought the cool boon, but I did not buy the one maybe you're talking about, Jim, which is the flamethrower build with your lantern. Didn't quite do that one. 4%, never gonna happen, right? XCOM odds. The odds of being hit, 4%, virtually zero. Hey, there it is. So you don't even get this message if your ambush chance is 0. It just sends you to the load screen. Was hoping to maybe luck into some blue sand. Couldn't remember if blue sand is here. Oh gosh, we got a Gaio right there. I think he's on to me. Is he? Gotta watch out. That's why I haven't lit my torch right now. Afraid of the giant monster. Yeah, there is blue sand out here. So I think we already have like more than enough blue sand to make an entire set of armor, but it is something that is very light that sells for 14. So definitely something that you want to do. Do you have a strategy for prioritizing foods? Not really. I do try to eat stuff that's closer to being rotted, and meat dishes do that. Like the meat stew's already about I've got 9 of them, and they're about a quarter gone, if not more. That being said, the healing is technically going to waste, but I don't think I think that my first playthroughs of this game, I was very, very concerned about like having enough food, and I think that my enjoyment of the game and my kind of success at it increased a great deal when I stopped worrying about food and kind of got to the point of make a bunch of it, then forget about it for a while. Because it is something that can like occupy a bunch of your time to be like, oh, I'm going to hunt, I'm going to get these specific, dishes prepared. Which there are some really cool foods, but, you've only got so much time to play. I'm going to be ambushed by a bunch of bandits, assuredly. How I learned to stop worrying and love the rat. It's true. It's true. I keep hearing Morrowind music. Is that just you? We've got a Morrowind moment. We've got a Morrowind moment right here, and I didn't even realize it. I didn't know that this sounded like the Morrowind music. It's been a while since I've played Morrowind, but maybe it does sound like Morrowind. And maybe that's just one other way that this game's like Morrowind. A relatively narrow selection of songs in the soundtrack, and some of them sound like Morrowind. Hot damn. Can I Skyrim up there? Blech. Yes. Cool butterfly sleeping place here, right outside of Vendavel Fortress. Power cell? No power cell. Unlucky on the power cells today. Unfortunate. We'll be on the lookout. And kind of the second half of the map. Would love to have 2. Yeah, I think Morrowind did have kind of like a more or less random selection, but vibes is what we're looking for. I like the night sky. And actually, I really like it. Like, the music's fine, but it's kind of almost the ambient noises really stick out when the music dies down, like it does now. So you just kind of hear the chirping of crickets and the crunch of the grass under your feet. There's some tough trogs in here, if I recall. There's like an armored one. This cave is very, very small, and the first time you go here, you're like, what is even the point of this cave? But in Vindeville Fortress, there is a trap. Yeah, there's a trap, and it can, like, drop you in here with this trog. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to fight that guy. Yeah, there are poison ones in there. Like a grenadier, I think is like the technical term. He will like burrow. Yes. I mean, it's actually like when you're finished, when you clear the fortress is probably the quickest way back. Oh, you did kill that guy and it was super easy, huh? Mm-hmm. I agree. I actually really like that co-op in this game doesn't have like, at least to my knowledge, it doesn't have any like scaling to speak of. So adding a friend makes combat cool in that you really feel like you're helping. Kind of the anti-Elden Ring in that way. Getting tired. Let's see, how are we doing on inventory? We're getting a little heavy. Might have enough liquidity at this point to just like invest in the armor, which will make us very strong and definitely push us into realms. A realm of strength that we've not yet been acquainted with. Have I beat the game? I've beaten the game twice. I've beaten the game with the via the Blue Collective questline, the Blue Chamber Collective questline, and I've beaten the game with the I believe it's the Holy Kingdom, the Heroic Kingdom of Levant. I've beaten those two plot lines. I haven't done much of any expansion content. Out of all the magic schools, which do you think is the most powerful? I think it's the Hex Mage. Yeah, I agree with you. It's like it's so strong you don't even have to really pair it with anything. You can make a character and only spend one breakthrough point on Hex. When I say I haven't done expansion stuff, it's like I've interacted with the trainers, which is something you can do, but I have not haven't done like the content as it were. Oh yeah, I've got hotkeys for this. Hotkeys to make my stamina come back. But yeah, Hex is cool. I don't know if we'll do Hex. I mean, the door's open. We've got some mana, but I'd like if you're killing things by snapping your fingers, why would you lean into melee combat? Show you how to combat? I mean, I'm going to be leaning on the fact that I get some really heavy armor, and I'm just going to hit buttons. This is one of the things I like about the game, that you can kind of build your character in a way that lets you face roll your way through it a little bit. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna face tank a lot of this stuff. Use a little supplemental magic. Might pick up a little bit of like rune magic, just to like have a few, carry around a book. I'll be able to carry around a book, switch to it when I want to like do some buffs or summon a little light for a lantern. I think that might be fun, but I don't even need to specialize in rune magic to get that stuff. That's all tier 1 stuff. Oh, you just got iron armor. Yeah. Like half plate, black half plate, some runic plate somewhere in there. Well, I might end up spoiling you because I think I have enough resources now to start getting some blue sand armor, which is kind of like the unique armor for Sierzo. I agree, Deus Ex Machina. Another thing that's very Morrowind to me is if you're using rune magic, it's probably easiest to have like a piece of paper in front of you as you're playing the game to just demarcate like what combinations do what before you have them all memorized, I suppose. Very cool stuff.
What can I do? All right.
If you're just running through the stream, welcome. It's a chill stream. It's a chill stream for a chill Thursday evening. Just one day left in the work week for a lot of us. For some of us, tomorrow's your Monday, and my condolences go out to you. I'm very sorry about that. That's not how I would do it if I were in charge of everything. I don't think we're going to do Amylite armor. I think Amylite armor works really well for like a bow and arrow build, or just a ranged build. But I don't think we're doing that way. Okay. Gotta have the other monitor up with the wiki or what have you. It's true. It's a little bespoke. Let's see. So what are we doing? I'm looking at... Oh yeah, we need to talk to Helen, who's back here. Need to just finish this quest. She gives us a little bit more money. And we'll do a price check on all of this blue sand armor that we want to make. Now, I will say, it's going to lead to an even more meditative, slow experience getting this blue sand armor. Because like I said, heavy armor weighs a lot. So if you're wearing it, you're going to be slow because it has a speed penalty. If you're not wearing it, it's going to take up room in your bag, and it's going to be more likely that your bag ends up being over encumbered, and then you're going to be slow.
Greetings, friend.
Yeah, blue sand is like a unique armor set. I would definitely say, I don't know if it's the next step up in iron. I don't have a clear idea of like the full hierarchy, but it's definitely a step up. I have this unusual item. Here's a strange garnet. I'll take 30 silver for it, that's fine. Now, interestingly, you can make that heart worth more if you go to the swamp and you go to a dungeon and you read a diary about the importance of returning an ash giant's heart who has been exiled to their homeland, and it's like a way for them to be reincorporated into the society after their death. When you read that diary entry, you can get more money out of that ash giant heart from Helen here, but we're not going to do that.
Lend me your
I think I found that rare mushroom you found at one. Yeah, so between the heart and the silver, it's 100 silver. Trying to get through Dark Souls 2 after watching last Saturday, but it looks so... Yeah, I think this game's really fun. Very different vibe from Dark Souls, but I love it. Rocking the two-handed Fang Axe. Next axe you're going to be shooting for is probably like a brutal weapon, which start dropping on higher level enemies. So like bandit lieutenants drop brutal weapons. So like maybe a brutal axe. There's some really great two-handed axes, and I love the unique weapon skill for two-handed axes. I think it's called execution, where like if you down an enemy, you can use the execution skill and you do like triple damage. Pretty wild, pretty great. I believe you can learn that skill in Berg if you don't know it already. Okay, so yeah, let's talk to the blacksmith. I believe he turns padded armor into blue sand armor. I will end up raiding the bandit camp. I want to get 2 power cores before I go to the bandit camp closest. Let's see. What am I looking for here? Oh, yeah. I need to talk to the general shop owner, see if he's got some padded armor.
Is there something you need?
It's not an all-the-time thing, but he does have padded armor, padded boots. Thank you. So, and y'all can see I'm getting slower. My bag is overweight. These are the repercussions here as the sun rises. Gosh, we're getting some. This is interesting. I wonder what part of the world. 3 o'clock in the morning. We're getting a little bit of sunrise here. What's going on? Outward's wild.
What can I do for you? All right.
It's really wild. What should you do now? I like the troglodyte cave, the privacy. I really enjoy doing the troglodyte cave, and maybe when you're strong enough, hanging out and doing some bandit fortresses, or just running back and forth between Berg and Sirtso. Easy to make money doing the kind of like ledger quests, where I think you go from Sirtso to Berg to Monsoon to Levant. Troglodyte Cave is you hug left. You just leave Sirtso and you hug all the way left. It's Blister Burrow, I believe. I want to craft me something.
Here's what I need.
Let's see. So armor is 5 blue sand. Okay.
What can I do for you? All right.
Let's sell a bunch of stuff. Doop. Bunch of gold. Bunch of silver, rather.
All right. What can I do? Here's what I need.
Yes, I'm sure.
Well,
and I think I gotta wait 24 hours. Oh, if you beat that, the world's your oyster. As long as you got the blood price, I would really just relish the ability to like explore before you know where things are. I really do think the first playthrough of this game was really cool because you get to just explore places, and because of the way the game functions with the defeat scenarios, it's like, yeah, you can lose some resources, but you won't lose everything if you get in over your head. Lots of great caves just in the Chersonese that you can explore. So I recommend that. Just goof around. And I think after we get our, a couple of pieces of blue sand armor, that first one was more expensive than I remember at 400 silver. I think we might call it an evening, and then we're really going to be situated to hit the ground running next session. And I think next session we are going to get a couple more spells, and we are going to clear out Vendeville Fortress. I think we will be ready after we have this set of armor, and we've got a decent weapon. We have the ability to kind of buff our weapon with some fire rags and such.
What can I do for you?
I'm here to collect my armor piece.
Right.
Cool. And my bag is now so overweight, I cannot move. Yeah. Let's equip it. So yeah, blue sand armor has both resistances. So it's 20, looks like regular damage resistance, decay, which is like poison and lightning, and it has 3 protection, which 3 protection is like before you even get to the resistance, which is a percentage based, it's 3 damage off. So heavy armor is like especially good against like small chip damage, because that 3 damage is damage you just don't even take. So if you get hit for 100, it's 3 damage off, and then it's 20% off whatever's remaining. So yeah, we've got blue sand armor first and foremost. Turns out I completely confused like the necessity of getting the padded armor. Turns out the padded armor is for, let me think, I think that's for Amylite armor. You upgrade the padded armor. So I might actually keep the set I have, you know, for now. It's also got some cold weather defense, which blue sand armor does not have. Blue sand armor is so heavy it actually gives -10 hot weather defense. So definitely not the kind of armor you want to take into the desert. Luckily, we won't really be doing that, hopefully. So yeah, we've got 7 blue sand left. Let's see what else we can manage here. What time is it now? This is 5:35. You got to get up early and outward. Let's see. So the helmet's 3, the boots are 2. Okay.
What can I? All right.
Got 186. So I only need 5 of these, which means I can sell 2 blue sands and be okay. Sell predator bones. Sell these makeshift boots. Sell those. Cool. Oh, I'm so close to going ahead and getting the helmet. But we'll just get the boots first.
Here's what I need. Well, wow.
Yeah, the sand is just laying on the ground. However, it's very hard to see unless it's dark out. So you're much better off. You're much better off trying to find it at nighttime.
What can I do for you?
Here to collect my armor piece. Great. He's got it done. So we will rest, and then we will come back, and we have spent all of our money on 2 pieces of the 3 pieces of armor. But that's fine. That's fine. We're going to be really strong in the next session, and we're going to clear out some bandits. The reason we're going to go do the Vindeville Fortress first is because once you start advancing the main quest, you're going to get some, you're going to start hearing some rumors about maybe some bandits mobilizing against Sierzo. And once you hear those rumors, you are on a time limit, my friend. And if you do not address the issue, really bad stuff can happen. And we don't want really bad stuff to happen. A lot of great people here in Sierzo. A lot of people I don't mind at all, and also a lot of people that I could care less about. Specifically the people that, I don't know, remind me about stuff my grandmother did. Let's see. We're getting it. It is much like every city in that way. It's true. You never go to a city and you're like, I love everyone here. You know, I'm sure that is like there are probably people that 100% roleplay this, and it comes time to like save Sierzo, and they're like, no. And also, I live in the desert now. I'm too far away.
What can I do for you?
Let's collect the armor piece. Now we got blue sand boots. Look at that. Our protection increases. Now we have 39% absorption. We got 5 protection, just straight off anything that hits us. However, we do have -6 movement speed plus -4, so we have -10 movement speed before we count, you know, factor in the backpack and such. So, you know, we're going to be a little slow. We're going to be a little slow, and it's okay. And I think here on, what is this? This is day 8, time 7 in the morning. I think here's where we're going to leave it for this stream. I'm going to go ahead and save the game here. Thanks everybody for joining me I've gone ahead and quit to desktop, so it is just a big black screen. Thanks everybody for joining me on this stream. It's very fun. I'll be here next week to play more Outward and have a chill time. Goodbye.